Number 11, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Transport, and it asks him, is it still his position that the government will not lower the blood alcohol content for adult drivers until the move is regarded as having wide public support, and specifically would need, quote, three-quarters support or more, end of quote, before a change was made?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I've said repeatedly, including to the member many times, that before lowering the adult blood alcohol limit, the government would want to ensure that the specific impact on the road toll of drivers with a BAC between 0.05 and 0.08 was known, and that the move had very broad support amongst the driving population of this country.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Darren Hughes.
If public opinion is so important to the Minister on this topic, what will he do if his two-year study comes back recommending that the limit should be lowered, but the polls don't show 75% support?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, as the member is well aware, there is a very strong lobby in both directions in this country between maintaining people who want to see the limit maintained at the current level and people who want to see it lowered. Now, those that want it maintained at the current level are very focused on the lack of information about specific harm between drivers between 0.05 and 0.08. Now, I'm confident if we collect that data and it shows specific harm, then we'll be able to build a consensus for change, provided that data does exist.
Point of order, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Speaker, a very interesting answer, but I was trying to get a sense from the Minister of what his priorities were. He set out two criteria for changing the blood alcohol limit for driving. One is popularity, the other is a two-year study. I'm trying to get a sense of which of the priority of those two things, if they're in conflict, in 2 years' time will lead the Minister to act. That's the point of my question.
I invite the member to repeat his question if
Sure,
there's some doubt over...
What will he do if his two-year study comes back and says the alcohol limit for adults should be lowered, but the polls don't show 75% support for such a measure?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I'm confident in my fellow New Zealanders that if the data comes back and suggests that there is a significant benefit to be obtained, then achieving a consensus for change will not be difficult.
The Honourable Darren Hughes.
Mr. Speaker. Was the Cabinet paper that he signed this year correct on page 9 at paragraph 46, where he states, when New Zealanders are asked what the limit should be, 85% of people support a blood alcohol limit of 0.05 or lower, and only 2% favour the current 0.08. If so, doesn't this mean his own paper shows there's already the support for this measure to lower the blood alcohol limit for adult drivers?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I've signed a number of Cabinet papers this year, so I can't recall the details of that one. But can I just say that study relates to the amount of alcohol people think somebody should be able to drink. And then when it's translated into a level, then you can translate it to be the numbers that the member describes. The issue is this, that New Zealanders do not believe that the amount that is proposed by the officials is actually the correct number for 0.05 to 0.08. Now, we could have had this solved a long time ago, Mr. Speaker, if the previous government had actually done the research that was required, but when the current Leader of the Opposition in 2001 had the opportunity, he never did it.
The Honourable
Supplementary question to the Minister of Transport.
Order.
To the Minister of Transport. When he said in the media this morning that building public support would be hard if Kiwis thought one or two drinks would put them over the limit, had he forgotten that his own papers make it clear such a level of consumption would be lower than the 0.05 limit promoted in my member's bill?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I think the member paraphrases what I said this morning. I said that there are many New Zealanders who are worried. Two things. I said two things. Well, do you want me to answer the member's question, or do you just want to keep going? Fine.
Order. The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I said on the radio this morning, there are two things that concerns people who oppose the change. One is as to what level they would then be able to drink before they would be contravening the new law. And secondly, whether there was a concern that we would be punishing the majority with a law change when we were trying to impact on a minority. And that's the reason for doing the research, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I have to say it's sort of ironical, Mr. Speaker, that we have such lambs in government on the other side and they are now lions in opposition. It seems they discovered their courage on the way to the opposition benches.
Question number 12, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Mr. Speaker.
John Boscawen.
On behalf of the Honourable Rodney Hyde, the question